The coronavirus came with a lot of fear, confusion, a new way of doing things. It has also come with new innovations. Individuals and organizations now hold meetings online and still achieve what they would have achieved in a physical meeting. Online businesses and activities have been greatly boosted, but on the negative side, however, there are people who have capitalized on people's vulnerability and gullibility to make some extra cash. Now, during this period, we have seen and heard of quack doctors and other individuals who have come up with all kinds of cure to the virus. Some have said pepper, onions, garlic, ginger, local herbs, etc. But we have, as long as we know, nothing has been okayed by the WHO, that's the World Health Organization, and some drugs are undergoing clinical trials. Even the homegrown alternatives here in Nigeria are undergoing clinical trials. So there really isn't any cure yet. Today on the show, I will be talking with a journalist who had an encounter with some quacks in Ghana, claiming to have the cure for the virus, as well as most likely will bring in a doctor to share his thoughts in this regard. But let's check out the current cases before getting into the meat of the matter. Globally, there are now over 11.4 million cases of COVID-19 and over 6.2 million recoveries. And we have well over 500,000 deaths so far. India has overtaken Russia as the third most affected country in terms of confirmed infections of COVID-19. State governments in the Asian country confirmed almost 25,000 cases on Sunday, taking the national total figure to 698,000 and 19,000 deaths since the outbreak began. This is COVID-19 Myths and Facts. Welcome on board. Now, since the emergence of COVID-19, scientists from around the world have been racing against time to find a cure for the virus, with many clinical trials going on to test the efficacy of some vaccines. Nonetheless, there have been purported cures for the virus, even as the World Health Organization has warned that there is no cure yet for the ravaging respiratory illness. Take a look at this. Better yet, some of the herbal medicines many believe which poses as a remedy to the virus include garlic, ginger, and even neem tree, often called dogoyaro amongst the locals in these parts. In Madagascar, the herbal cure COVID-19 organics, which has been supported by its president, is still produced in the country and exported to other African countries, even as there is no evidence it works against the virus. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization says it welcomes innovations based on traditional remedies, but has also warned against untested treatments. But on the other hand, some dubious individuals, particularly in Ghana, have been exploiting the coronavirus pandemic to make quick cash, selling fake COVID-19 cures to unsuspecting buyers. So how can one identify a potential cure for the virus, even as scientists say a vaccine will not be available for until the next 8 months? So I have with me in the house an individual from Ghana whose identity I will conceal for obvious reasons. He has done an extensive coverage of quack doctors in Ghana, and you do understand why his identity will be concealed. This is for security reasons and to keep his identity safe. Thank you so much for joining in. It's good to see you behind the veils.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So you did that explosive story exposing a whole lot of quacks, or two quacks, so to speak. Why did you get into that?
Well, in the midst of the lockdown and the fact that the world was at a stage of panic, nobody knew where we could safely say that this is a cure for COVID-19. People were thinking about ventilators and other things. But as journalists, you realize that after having been in your room for a lockdown for up to 3-4 days, you begin to ask yourself, how do I situate my profession within this lockdown period? And it's a well-known fact that criminals triumph when there are problems. They will definitely look for the loopholes to explore. With this, I decided to look and go behind the scenes to see what people had planned by way of committing crime and coming out with figures. Before that, we should remember that fake medicines kill over 100,000 people in the world and kills more than 30,000 Africans. So in reality, fake medicine, as we speak today, kills more than COVID-19. So putting all these facts together, I thought that it would be wonderful to look around to see those who claim they have cures. Indeed, the story started from your backyard, Nigeria, where a pharmacist called Ibudo said that he had a cure for HIV and COVID-19. It is true that I did not subject his views or his medicine to any clinical test, but we all know that there is no cure for HIV and there is no cure for COVID-19. Again, was another herbalist, lady herbalist, and a pastor who claimed they have cures. Whereas we cannot question people's religious beliefs and people's beliefs, the only thing we can do is to measure what they say with science. And we don't just have to say because you see them on radio and TV talking about it, it means that they clearly have that cure. Until we subject it to clinical tests or a basic test, we are unable to make any judgment on it.
Okay.
Back here in Ghana, I looked at two organizations, Quacks, and then, of course, the Abdallah brothers, who were also into medications. Quacks was very explicit on their website that the cure they have, which is a food supplement, does not cure corona. But when I went behind the scenes, I realized that they were selling out not just as a corona cure, but they were also giving out prescriptions of how to take them and get cured. So indeed, I decided that with that finding, I looked also into the Abdallah brothers who claimed on air publicly that they have a cure, yet they are taking it through some level of testing before they allow it to go viral in the country.
Okay, let me cut you in here. Let me cut you in just so that I'll be able to squeeze in a couple of questions before time runs out. Now, with the discovery you made with the two guys, do you think there's still more out there like them doing what they're doing and, well, for now, getting away with it?
Certainly, yes, because I've had a lot of questions coming from my other African brothers from Kenya, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, other places, and certainly they are saying signs of wanting to take advantage of 4 people and wanting to take advantage of anything happening across the world.
Mm-hmm. We seem to be having some audio problem with the guy there. Wish we had him to continue on his thoughts. But what we're trying to get across to you is to be careful, to be mindful, and to be cautious. Yes, we're in desperate times where a cure is needed and for lives to be back to normal. And people will be willing to do anything, you know, to play on the vulnerability of people, you know, to make some extra money. But in doing that, let's all be careful and be mindful of everything we need to do, because we know times are dangerous and times are quite, we need urgency, or there's urgency in trying to get a cure. But here's the deal. There is a guideline. The idea is for us, like I did say, to be mindful and careful. And so the race is still on to try and get a cure or to find a vaccine for the virus. We have the NCDC guidelines to abide by. We all know what it is. If we don't know, let's check, you know, the social distancing, the washing of the hands, the sanitizing, you know, coughing in the, with the elbow, and just having to stay at home when you need to stay at home. If you need to stay at home, that will work for now until we get a cure, until we get a vaccine for this. Thank you so much for watching. You take good care and stay safe.